What's going on, guys? Welcome back to your Lake Fork Guide. Man, we're out here on Lake Fork. It's winter fishing. One of my favorite baits, the Alabama rig. And I'm about to give you the top secret tricks that people just don't share. Here's the way to catch fish on Alabama rig better than anybody else that 90% of anglers just don't do. And always remember this, folks.
Sure knows how to live.
He sure does.
He said, women I made love.
Come back. Oh, that feels
But is
good. Might be two.
Play that for me, Taylor.
life is one thing, but you will
Now hook him in,
never
boys.
live
It's big.
again.
It's all big
Oh,
head.
I got to admit, sure knows how to live.
Alabama rig, Alabama rig, Alabama rig. Man, what a bait, what a bait, what a bait. The bait's so good, they banned it. But it ain't banned for us because we just going fishing, right? And it's legal in Texas. Check your local state. If you're not in Texas, check your local state regs on how many hooks you can have. But you can use it if you have to use it with dummy rigs up north. I think they got some places to do that. I'm sure California's dumb liberal butt probably makes you not use a certain amount of hooks or whatever they do over there. They got more stupid laws in California than anything I've ever, like the rest of us combined. You know what? Subject change before I get in trouble. We don't want to get canceled or whatever they call it. Actually, I don't care. They can cancel me. I only want to talk about 10 of y'all anyway, so I don't really care. Alabama rig is fantastic, obviously. Obviously, it's fantastic if they banned it, back in the day. Now, it's not what it was then. The fish had never, or the bass, certainly it's kind of a saltwater thing, but the bass had never seen it back then. And it was just crazy how good they bid it when it first came out. But that being said, the Alabama rig, especially in December, for the month of December, best bait you can throw. A jerk bait's right there, like we talked about the other day, but man, the Alabama rig's the best bait you can throw in the month of December, in my opinion. Now, there's a couple things you can do with it to make it even better for where we fish. We fish in the South. I'm at Lake Fork right now today. I'm all over East Texas from time to time. But this whole region, from the Atlantic coast, from Georgia, all the way to West Texas, brother, we ain't got no wide open water. Like a little bit here and there, you'll find some open water lakes, or you can go seek out a little patch of open water on whatever lake you're on. But for the most part, like I see tree, timber, brush, all that's out here, man. It's just heavy cover. There'll be some grass. You can fish an Alabama rig over grass. How do you do that? Hook's just gonna grab it. How do you fish it through the timber without it getting hung up? Well, there's one way to do that. And this is the best tip you can ever have for an Alabama rig. Rig your swim baits weedless. First of all, this is a Smash Tech Alabama rig, is no longer made. I like the 8-blade ones. We fish stained and kind of dirtier water around here all the time. So I always like to go with 8 blades. That's my personal opinion. Doesn't make it right, but it's what I do. 3.5 inch swim baits is all you need. These are Zoom Swimming Fluke Juniors. It's just an old package I had. Man, I use Kitex. I use Skinny Dippers from Reaction Innovations. I'm not too particular about the swim baits that go on my Alabama rig. These are like the best bargain you can get, though. The Swimming Fluke Junior from Zoom, you get like 20 of them in a package for like $4 or whatever it is. It's the best value deal, and they work really well on Alabama rig. Caught tons of big fish on them, as you saw the other day, and I've been doing it for years out here. Had my old buddy, guy that actually kind of got me started back in the day, Andrew Grills, turned me on to these Swimming Fluke Juniors on an Alabama rig 10, 12, 13 years ago, something like that, and they really work well. So anyway, 3/0 hooks. Try to find the smallest hooks you can, the smallest weights you can. That just has kind of a little barrel weight. It's not as long of a weight. I don't remember what the exact weight on this is. I'm pretty sure it's a 16th, but it's small weights. These are lead, so the lightest weight I can get away with, about a 3/0 hook, is what you need size-wise for those swim baits. But rigging them weedless is the deal. That is the top secret guide trick here. I've done a video on it several years ago. Got a ton of views. I'm sure there's plenty of y'all out there that are doing it now. But if your hookup ratio, that's the one thing that probably people are going to say when they see this is, man, don't you not hook the fish as well? Because open top hook jig heads, obviously open hook should hook them better. Man, I've never really had a hookup issue or losing fish issue. Now, I lost 2 on it today. Both were 100% because I was messing with cameras. The one was just on slack line right at the boat, and I was just being lazy trying to get the camera turned on, trying to be fancy Hollywood boy out here, and I screwed up and lost the fish. But over the years, I've never really had any issue that I've noticed about fish coming unbuttoned when I rig an Alabama rig weedless. So I don't mind doing it like this even in open water, but I don't fish open water very often. But with nowadays, with forward-facing sonar especially, I mean, even before forward-facing sonar, you know, especially if the lake's a little low like it is, like as I look across here, I can see the tops of a lot of trees because the lake's a couple feet down right now. So we can see kind of the tops of those trees where they broke off at the surface. Anytime a lake's been in that situation in the winter in the past, we can literally take this rig with no forward-facing sonar, try to figure out your depth that you want to fish looking on your regular old school sonar, side scan, down scan, all that stuff. Once you figure out what depth you want to fish, get in that depth and just kind of throw your A-rig between the trees and just guide it through those lanes the same as you would a square bill or a jerkbait or anything else in that timber. And this rig will really come through there really well. It'll go up and over and fall back down, and it slides through there pretty good. And usually when it does get hung, it's just like this. And if you don't jerk on it real hard and dig it in there, you just go over there and like get on top of it and it just kind of falls back out and you roll it out of there and you're good to go. I mean, I can count on one hand how many Alabama rigs I've lost to getting hung up, and almost every time that's a brush pile on the bottom. Like, it's not a deal where I'm hanging them up in a tree and losing them. You just ease your boat over there, get on top of it, shake it a little bit. The weight of the Alabama rig usually just plops it out and you pull it right back up and you're good to go. And that's usually how it goes, like 9 times out of 10. So no issue there. You'll be amazed how good it comes through stuff. It'll bump off trees and all that good stuff. Now, if you have forward-facing sonar, it's even better, because now I can literally see the tree as I'm getting to it. So I never mistake a limb for a bite and jerk on it too hard and dig it in there. A lot of times I can completely avoid the tree altogether by looking and just get really close to it and not actually hit it using forward-facing sonar. So I just don't see any reason to rig them any other way like this, and now I can fish it wherever the hell I want to. Now, you guys that have some grass in your lake, we do have some grass on Fork, but not deep enough to do what I'm fixing to talk about. And I think Rayburn's low right now, so it doesn't have grass deep enough to do what I'm fixing to talk about. Toledo probably has some deep grass that you can do this on, and I'm sure there's other lakes across the southeast where you guys can do this, Gunnersville, places like that. And this is no like top secret. Guys have been doing this. But if you'll take this Alabama rig and instead of belly weighted hooks, just put 3/0 EWG hooks on there. Screw lock would be better if you can find them with a screw lock, but no weight on the belly, no keel weight. Just put your regular weightless hooks on there and add 1 or 2 to balance it with weight at the bottom. So 2 hooks with a belly weight, the rest without. That bait you'll be able to make that bait ride extremely high in the water column and still crawl it at slow speeds. And you can keep it over the tops of grass. So if you got a 2-foot gap, a 5-foot gap, whatever it is, you can watch and kind of get a feel for it. If you don't have sonar, just get a feel for it. If you do have forward facing, watch and just guide your A-rig right over grass, deeper grass. You talk about something that's lights out in the wintertime. If you're seeing a deeper grass edge and you're seeing some fish move around on the edge of it, you want to catch all of them, do that. Like, that's the way to go. Like, it's unbelievable how good it is. Couple little tricks for wintertime fishing. Hover the rig, dude. I call it hovering an A-rig. If you lift your rod straight up, and you'll see me do that in some footage here, but as you're coming down, looking down on forward-facing sonar, it's rolling. You're maybe holding it down or maybe holding it slightly up. If you really lift your rod straight up, that A-rig will stop and hover. And you can just sit there and shake it, and that A-rig will just kind of jingle and jangle, and the swim baits will flutter around right over a fish's head. That can be the trick to get bites at times. And I made one bite today doing that. And a lot of fish that'll follow and not bite, you can just slow it down and hover it over their head, just make it kind of go crazy over their head. Not anything too crazy, but a little subtle shimmy. Get a lot of bites that way from fish that wouldn't bite otherwise. They're just going to follow and then eventually come off of it. So it's a way to make a fish bite. And we're always looking for that, especially in the wintertime. Looking for ways to make fish bite because we know they're a little more lethargic and reluctant to bite when it's cold. As far as areas on where to fish it, man, you know, deep grass is great. I love deep grass if I have it. But that's not always a common thing around here. So vertical structure is really important. Bridge pilings are great. That's what I was focused on today. Dams, any lake, the dam is always going to be a great place to go. Look for fish on your forward facing and throw A-rigs on them on the dam. We know that's how the whole thing at Ivy started, was A-rigs out in front of the dam in the middle of winter when it was just brutally cold. That's what turned Ivy into what it is today. And there's still guys catching them like that. A lot of the biggest fish are getting caught like that still this day on there. And J.B. Thomas and all those West Texas lakes that are a little more open water, guys are just kind of jangling those A-rigs right over their head and getting it done that way still. So very proven technique, works everywhere you want to do it at in the wintertime. Gear-wise, you got to have a big rod. You know, I've got, I custom designed some rods a while back. We used to sell them. We don't anymore, unfortunately. But I have a 711 big, heavy. I mean, it's a heavy rod. Like, it has got some backbone to it now. And that thing turns this into a spinnerbait. And here's what I can't express how important this is if you're going to fish dock pilings or bridge pilings. Being able to roll cast a bait, keep it low, and be very accurate with it. So important. In any forward-facing sonar situation, you want to be able to be very accurate with your A-rig so that you're right on target on those fish, even in open water. But the bridge pilings and the dock pilings especially, to come down the edge of those and kind of carve the bark, shave the concrete off the edge of them the way you need to at times, man, having a big enough rod where you can throw this thing around like a spinnerbait with all this stuff hanging off of it, so important. And it's really, that 711 heavy swimbait rod that I designed and had built and I use for this, that's designed to throw 5-ounce glide baits, big, heavy baits. It handles this. It's really too much rod, too powerful of a rod for this. But I love doing that and using it on that because of how easy I can cast it around. And I can literally backhand roll cast it or underhand roll cast it on the, strong hand side, forehand side. Oh, we're playing tennis now? I don't know what we're doing. Anyway, y'all know what I mean. It just gives me complete control over that bait. Line, man, I used to really beef up the line on Alabama rigs. I don't really anymore. I just, with the weedless rigging and the forward facing, I just don't have an issue really hanging them up that much. And so I use 20-pound or even sometimes 17-pound fluorocarbon, usually 20 though. I don't use any crazy 25-pound mono to be extra tough. I don't use any braid. I never use braid on this. Braid, if you get around that timber, it's just going to cut little grooves in that timber as you go over the limbs of them underwater. It's going to make noise when it hits pilings or limbs underwater. I don't like braid on this application. I really prefer fluorocarbon. You can go mono if you want to, but I really prefer fluorocarbon, and I use 20 pounds. So the real retrieve speed, theoretically, it shouldn't really matter much in this. You're going to be going so slow with this, it really shouldn't matter. Now, what I will say, if you're going to go really high speed, you need to make sure, if you have forward facing, watch your bait and learn the feel of what it takes to keep that bait down. Because if you have a 7-1 or an 8-1 crazy fast reel, man, it can ride up on you pretty quick. It's pretty easy to make it ride up on you. Even if you think you're going slow, it'll ride up. So if you have forward facing, make sure you're watching your bait and understand what it takes to keep that bait even, understand what it takes to drop it, understand what it takes to rise it, and the rate of speed it will climb out based on how fast you're retrieving the reel. That's something you guys are going to have to do your own time behind the wheel, so to speak. If you don't have forward facing, what I would encourage you to do is to get in some flat areas and throw the bait out there, let it go all the way to the bottom, start reeling it at a certain speed, whatever speed you want, whatever you're comfortable with. What do you think is a good speed? Then reel it for 10 seconds and stop. Let it fall and count how long it takes to fall. Start understanding how far off the bottom you're getting at whatever speed you're most comfortable with, and then make adjustments from there. If you want to ride lower, slow it down. You want to ride higher, pick it up. Also, the manipulation of your rod tip can change the elevation of the bait as well. So something you're going to have to play with. If you don't have forward facing, you got to get in a flat area and just kind of experiment and practice and learn how fast your bait's lifting off the bottom as you reel it and whatnot with the rod in different positions. So that's something you'll have to take a little more time to do. If you have forward facing, easy peasy, you can watch it and control it that way. Just have the hand discipline to slow down enough to not lift it away from them. All right, last thing, and other than rigging on weedless, this is the most important part of today's video. Reading these fish's behavior. One thing that I have found is that there are times when I can hover it. There's individual fish where I can hover it, shake it, make them bite. Most of my fish that I catch, a lot of them I'm not even seeing on the screen when it happens. There are times when I get too locked in to wanting to put the bait right by the fish and keep it right by the fish too much. I have found that you will actually get more bites if you will just fish it the way you would if you couldn't see it on your forward facing. You'll get more bites. One of the biggest fish that we actually boated today, I was not looking at the screen. I wanted the boat to kind of position in spot lock. I'd seen some fish on some pilings. I made a cast over there and then I hit spot lock because I wanted spot lock to take over a second and swing the boat the way I wanted to with the way the wind was blowing. so I could control the boat better while looking at the pilings. I had intended to go back to looking in a minute, but the point is, I just made a cast without looking on forward facing, just throwing it by the pilings, and I just slowly fished it like I would fish it if I had no forward facing. Wouldn't you know, that's when I got the biggest bite. So a lot can be said about getting too caught up in the forward facing. Once you've seen those fish, you know where they are, you're reading their behavior. If they're following a lot, man, try not looking at them, or just, if you're going to look at them, fish the bait no matter how they react. Fish the bait like you would if you weren't looking at them. Just nice, steady retrieve, easy peasy, nice and slow. Get it at the depth you want it and keep it steady. And I bet you that'll get you more bites than trying to manipulate the bait and make them bite at times. So back and forth game can go either way. There are individual fish that you can make bite by shaking or hovering or whatever you want to call it. But a lot of the fish you're going to catch on an Alabama rig need to get behind it, trail it for a while, and eventually they're going to commit and bite it. And they're only going to do that if you keep it at a steady retrieve the way you would if you did have any forward-facing sonar and you couldn't see the bait. All right, guys, that's it for today's video. Now, let me know what you thought. Let me know what I missed. Let me know what helped you. And let me know what technique or what you would want to learn about in depth in the upcoming weeks. We're going to try to get back on a consistent schedule now. So I need video ideas. Help your boy out. Drop it in the comments. We can't thank you enough as always, man. Appreciate everything you guys have done. I know I've been MIA for the most part for the last couple of years. You guys have still viewed the videos when I have put them out. You've still subscribed to the Fish Life app. You've still supported me, book guide trips. And it means the world, man. Like, this deal started a little over 10 years ago, and I never imagined it would go kind of where it went to at its peak or whatever you want to call it. Not that we're like in a downtime now. I just haven't done the content like I used to, but like, man, this has been a really cool ride. And it's lasted probably longer than I thought it would. And I've enjoyed every minute that I've been on this water. Like, that's a hell of an office, boys. And I want to thank each and every one of y'all for helping me own it, or not own it, but helping me be able to make this my office. I really can't thank y'all enough. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for doing everything you have for me over the years. We will see you guys next time, right here on your Lake Fork Guide. And don't forget,
knows how to live. He said